drive to all the places, you will understand Armenia is not a small country, as many times we say. I'm sometimes using a fun, saying that it will be such a natural iron, and if you will iron Armenia in reality, by the map says we will turn it to the Russia. Because our mouth is really big and something, our roads are long. But we need to understand that still people, the majority of the people living here have solid heritage, have another problematic heritage, another problematic heritage, and all these changes will not come by itself. Someone should argue with them. And that someone is not, let's argue do or Tevan do, let's me do. Let's you do. I think it will be really good. Trying to shape, to understand, and really take the in your hand, be the master of your own destiny. This may be what we need. But for that we need a lot of transformations in the political process. We need to understand what's your political party. I don't know. You already perfectly knows whom you belong to, Democratic Party or the Republican Party in American context. Yes or no? Forget about the Trump. I mean the Trump family. Forget about the, I don't know, who is on the Democratic side. Definitely your parents tried. Maybe as an Armenian it's a bit different, but your neighbors already knows that political life has its own consequences. Elections mean something. Economy is based on something over which you're producing and you're paying the taxes. Without paying the taxes, there's no state. We need still to transform this into the value. A lot of things into the value. And this is maybe the most important thing that the young generation need to understand many things on the value base. Freedom of speech, nice word. Sexy. Everyone is talking about this, all the politicians. But as the moment coming, they're forgetting that this is a value and I need to respect it. We're starting to put the pressure. We're saying that presumption of innocence, it's a value. But just put in Facebook something wrong, the whole nation would crush you, saying that you are already corrupt, you are the worst. And maybe the court would approve something different. All this is innocent. We need to transform. So don't be afraid. It'll take time, but I think you're very young and you have that time. Take your road for that one. Anyway, this is and be strong because very soon there will be another war in Azerbaijan. Be ready if you wish to keep Armenia becoming different. Tevan Poghosyan is not just a Hollywood movie star that it's happened, but it's a real person, and it's come from LA. It's not the thing which I'm telling you like a tale. It's a real story. It could be now walking on the street of Yerevan, but it could be one who is walking on the street of Sydney, or maybe London, or maybe Boston, or maybe Moscow. I don't know. Or maybe you. The Bible show. I took my 10 minutes, now it's your turn. Feel free.
Well, let me start off.
Any question. Personal, non-personal, political, non-political, financial, economic.
Did you have a question?
Go for it.
Okay, I was just going to let you know that we're planning a trip to Karabakh next week. So from your perspective, with all of your background and your experience in and regarding Karabakh, what would you want them to know before going to Karabakh? Only Lillian has been to Karabakh before, so for the others it's their first time. And I'm hoping it's, as it was for me, a life-changing experience. But you have a different perspective, so tell me what you might think and what advice you would give.
Okay, first of all, we need to understand, you moving to the territory which is a perfect nature. That's why not to have, not spending the whole day in Stepanakert wouldn't give you anything good. Go to the very fantastic monuments of nature to see, and the food is delicious, drink is really good, try to live like the old guys there. But there is also some part which is not kind of an open, because it's militarized zone, there's a front line, and so that there are something which is will be definitely stay in your memory. I don't know which route you will drive from Goris or from Tevan, but in any way, it's now already around road. That's why you can go by one and come return by another one, or do the vice versa.
That's what we're hoping to do.
Do it, but it would be really good and perfect. Meet with the people, speak with them. I understand that there are now young guys who speak English. That's all. It's also good. Definitely on what to know. The most important thing, this is a perfect opportunity for you to learn the history of Karabakh. That's why I think maybe page of Ministry of Foreign Affairs or some materials that would be nice. And not, I'm not talking about the read that you traveling like to Paris, understand what is the attractions. It's not attractions. But this is a nice time for you, first of all, to see and check what was this all about. And second, that the information will stay always with you. Whenever back in your universities or back in home or back anywhere, you will be already knows. Imagine the case that you are in a one company when you need to really ask or inform the other one or answer to the question. And what is this Karabakh that you so proudly saying that they summarized and there? That's why I try to discover your own Karabakh, your own fun, your own photos. As the spots, I believe are up here, the guys who will be there with you will tell you like Dati Van Kwan, Sushi, I don't know, Umbrella, or something we're going, I don't know, there's Tangerine, that they go to Kataro wine place or Kataro church. They're kind of a nice church, deep run again, definitely. Whenever you will be seeing there, maybe sometimes for people it's, oh, this is barbaric action that it's happened, but from another side you need to understand that this was the only way to defend these people's life and how it's happening or not happening. Because you will be seeing things that left from 91, 94, and you will perfectly understand that maybe this was the only solution for that time. That's why I try to get your story of your Karabakh. And before that, just spend some hours to read, because it's all there. And then challenge whatever you read with the people with whom you will be meeting. Ask them questions. Let them also provide their personal stories. Anyone who's living now is kind of a hero for me in Karabakh. Because this is a personal story of liberation from A to Z. There's no family that don't have casualties. There's no family that don't have victims. There's no family that don't have some problematic things. There's no family whose husband or son or brother or even sisters are not serving in army. Understand what's mean in the Karabakh. In any way, for me, it's the jokingly, not jokingly, but I'm trying to give for many people, yes. This is the eastern border of Western world from the civilizational point of view, or Christian world from the civilizational world. There is nothing eastern which is Christian anymore. And today's guys in Karabakh defending that eastern border. Anything more is on that side. People with the destiny of more than 25 years with the gun in arms to stay on the first line, and no one can tell them how many generations they need to stand still. So we're in a Guinness book in reality from the logic of the longest tranche with the people keeping it for the duration. There's no any war in the world with such logic of tranche, with such length that kept by the one side against the other. There are kind of this interesting things that go and brevity of this
Those are some really good points. And something you said struck me. In America, in the diaspora, we often think that, oh, there's no Armenian in the diaspora or no Armenian that hasn't been affected by the genocide. I'm not dismissing it. I'm not minimizing it. That happened 103 years ago. And it's still part of our lives. It's still part of our reality. But this is today's reality. So anybody 25 and younger, 27 and younger, say 30 and younger, has not lived without war in their lives. And that's something that we don't know.
After 2016 April, it's changed. There is no anyone who is older than 3 years.
Exactly.
Who hasn't been seen I took my vote in 91, 92. My grandfather for him it has been his third vote. He has been once participating in Soviet Finland War, then World War II, and this was the third one. So my grandfather was born during World War II. This was like a second vote, I think. For me, that's been one. Now, I saw 2016 also, that even 4-day short one. But already all my members of the family, I have 5 kids. On the days we moved from by the whole family there with my 5 kids and being in Artsakh, and they already have their own experience. Even they've been living in Yerevan because of here, but they got their part of experience of that war. And whenever it's happening, they are pushing me. We heard that some problems on the border. Maybe it's time to move there, to be there, and not lose that 4 hours before getting. And this is the part over which we need to understand that this is the people who provide the real pride to Armenians in their life, that we are able to defend us. It's a generation actually, because in reality more than 13,000 manpower from Armenia also moved to Artsakh. From diaspora, much smaller numbers. We using to say bigger, but in reality it's maybe not more than 20. But they've been there and they've been heroes of this part. But the whole burden has been on the Karabakh.
I think Lillian had a question.
I had one before, but I have a new question.
Okay.
Regarding Artsakh. So, following the news about this war from the U.S., it seems like an impossible cause. Like it seems like, oh, there's no end in sight. How can this be resolved? So I wanted to hear your perspective on how do you see this conflict being resolved?
It's always coming with any issues, any conflict, any argumentation. It's coming with the logic. What is the resolution for me? And what is the resolution for the others? Because if my resolution and your resolution are different, then we can beat each other, not come to the resolution. We can argue with each other, not come with the resolution. This is the point over which we need to come, so that this formula jointly is satisfying all of us. On this moment, there's no that formula for me. Personally, I can't see how I can provide simply my security and simply security of my kids if I would go with any other presented to me argumentations. Maybe it's not nice, but I will tell you for me a resolution or in recognition of Artsakh Republic as it is by international community. Or the second one, let's keep the status quo. Because in all cases, there is no any other argumentation for me that security would be there. Just simply the word 2016, it doesn't mean by, let me refer one more to it doesn't mean by any Hollywood movie showing. I haven't been seeing the movie, I have been there in the reality, I've seen the house. Bullet shot it and I've seen how the people killed. anyone who would come and says that, yeah, no, but there's an international guarantee on international guarantee, Crimea, Syria, Iraq. How many cases I need to present to told that international guarantees is nice paper, maybe for archives, or maybe for some diplomats to specifically reach some. So where is this richness? I've seen how Azerbaijan has been killing Azerbaijani guy killing Armenian guy and then becoming national hero. Like, what should give me a proof that the other side would be accepting any kind of a solution? I'm opening their history books. They're written that all Armenians are our enemies. Their kids are our enemies. Even you are their enemies. Who's living in America? Not even close.
And sorry to interrupt, but that's not only in history books. Sometimes it's in kindergarten classes.
It's a school or like educational system. Okay, let me like in the whole educational system. This is when they have a generation who is growing up with the hating me, without knowing me. He don't know me. Like he never approached to Tevan Poghosyan. There are some others who knows. I've been twice to Baku. Everyone, I know a lot of people will be hating me the way how I behave me and what I told them in the face. No one would be forgiving this to me or something like that. But there are thousands of people in the world who are Armenians who know, but you are already enemies with them. And how to stemming out that hateness in the next generation, I don't know. They are not going to economic cooperation. They are not going to. Back in 1994, I'm always telling this to international my colleagues, saying that imagine a situation that on May 9, 1994, we signed a ceasefire agreement. Imagine on May 10 or 15, international community will recognize Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. Then it will be the situation when the people will come back to their borders, everyone will be happy, so that's okay, sorry, let's kind of make some peace dividends for some programs, try to resolve it. But for so many long times, you transform buffer zone, security zone into my own land. There are already people who has been born and grew up there and become 25 years, and he was already serving his Armenian, he was defending that part of the land. They have their graves already on these territories. They understand the totally different realities in their life, and they perfectly understand that the other side is not ready to cooperate or not ready to accept. That's why I can discuss possible solutions only in a way when I would understand that whatever we sign, it's a signature for at least for 4 or 5 generations. As a kid, I've been remembering those stories that my grandfather has been telling me about the Karabakh growing up, because Soviet schools were never even taught like this, and that's why it's provocation of his. Whenever I'm asking like why it's happened that we appeared in Azerbaijan, not in Armenia, because there are two. During a one day, there was 2 solutions. Like in 1921, Bureau of Communist Party of Russian Federation of South Caucasus. I hope that you followed it. Third country, Russian Federation. Neither Armenia nor Azerbaijan is part of Russian Federation. Communist Party Bureau. It's not even state, it's a bureau of political party of that state. Decided that Artsakh, or at that time they called it Karabakh and Nakhichevan are indispensable parts of Armenia. July 4, 1991. By the way, it's for many American citizens, my congratulations. On July 5, Stalin arriving to Tbilisi, changing decision. And just read the text of that decision. For the sake of long-lasting peace between Armenians and Muslims. Yes, from one side, it's ethnicity, Armenian. When I say Muslim, Muslim, as I know, is religion. There's no Muslim nation. And they make this decision. It has been pushed by someone. It has been, whenever I told them like how it's happened, why then you haven't fight at that time? Why? Is that it has been the maximum possible that we have been getting, but we never live with this happily. It's a time. This is the point that from 1921 till 1988, Karabakh issue, even within the Soviet Union, has been each decade raised by local authorities for being able to transfer Karabakh to Armenia. It's never been accepted by the nation there, but this was the maximum. And back in 1988, Soviet Union was much weaker thanks to economic policy of Ronald Reagan or I don't know someone. And finally, it's happened. The Soviet Union started to some transformation, perestroika, glasnost, I don't know, blah blah blah, all these things. Finally, it's collapsed, and we have been able to get into this our dreaming things into reality, but done by our own forces, done by our own power, done by our own for the 3 generations. Now, what kind of a solution should be proposed now that I will be perfectly sure that that long-lasting peace is not me 75 years? Because my grandfather has lived at 75 years. He has such a strong health that he has been one. Maybe if I would like at 90 and such decision would be there and even 5 years it would preserve and I will die at 95, I will say that I die in peace. But is it my dream? No. That's why when people ask me about solution, now the only solution what I see, it's no solution. The other side is not ready, international community is not know what to do, and then maybe we need to live for something else. The world is changing. Why we are in a rush? World is changing. Maybe next day world will become with something new for us. It will be something new opportunities for us on international legal system. Who knows what would exist? Armenia and Azerbaijan back in 1918 hasn't been accepted to League of Nations because of this disputed territory. But later on we become members of the UN. Maybe next day international system would change. That would be something different. Why we need to be in rush with some kind of a solutions where instead of that I can defend myself? Right? Because in any way I'll be defended. In any way I'll be defended. Do you believe that some soldiers, other soldiers would come and defend myself? Not myself, my kids, not my kids, my grandkids or their grandkids. Who? Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, US soldiers? Who would be coming to defend because of my nice eyes or kind of this funny smile? No one. Again, there will be our Armenian soldiers. If it's our Armenian soldiers who is defending Armenia, why I need to rush with any solution? Because Azerbaijan is not changing. It's not democratic. It's not wish to live. But hey, you don't trust me? Look, if Turkey changed. After 100 years of genocide, has Turkey changed their behavior? Are they recognizing this? Are they not speaking about that Armenians? Are they not crossing the border with Syria? Are they not pushing their forces in Iraq? Which means if Turkey is not changing within 100 years, what is the guarantee that Azerbaijan will be transformed into something who will be thinking about democratic cooperation, living together, international kind of Europeanization project or something else? I don't have any guarantee. And that's why, if you're asking me what is solution is following. Fight corruption, establish democratic strong institutions, make the people to love Armenia, make the people to stay and contribute into economic cooperation, invest in science, develop nice, good, strong military innovative things, have a lot of babies. That's all. Before babies, make love and then to make it more happy.
What other questions might y'all have?
I forgot. Do you have, what programs are you directly involved with in terms of like within the Republic of Armenia specifically, not including Artsakh, or maybe including Artsakh, in terms of developing like the more rural areas?
So like back in 2000, after return from United States, I first worked a very short for Hovnanian International, tried to sell their houses. But at that time, the Hovnanian house place was just simply desert, no houses, nothing there. Then finally I understand that whatever I got as an experience in Washington DC, it has been working with the think tank community, working with Congress. And at that time we had a government change. Previous one of the prime ministers called me and said that because of that experience, I would wish to have a think tank in Armenia because while I've been a prime minister, I never had any alternative opinion. Like everything was done by the government. The minister has been coming saying this is a policy we have been accepting, but we didn't have any alternative things to compare. What is right, what is wrong, maybe another way. And that's why let's build up. And in reality, ICHD has been designing in a maximum possible DC style think tank operation and cooperation. We start to work from 2000 till now. There are a lot of projects that we've done. You can go to our website and check. There's no starting from track to diplomacy, ending up with social policy, economic policy, foreign policy. Very recently, we've been engaged in one of the projects to own capacity building for the parliament because Armenia will be the parliamentary system of governance. Previous to that, we've been implementing fight against sex-selective abortions. You know that in Armenia we have a big problem, like we are second in the world after China on male-female abortion kind of a system. We have been hit by many feminist organizations that were violating the human rights. But what we put there, we hasn't been just simply done against them, we educated the families for the second and third babies if it's daughter not to do something. Let the girls give a birth. Because in other way we have 115 boys against 100 girls. And this is a really problem. We got some successes there. I hope that state will now continue this program or these approaches. For this moment, we are trying to help on some activities with the economic policy, specifically like with this pension funds reform, central bank operational things, this national assembly cooperation. And this is our task, like to come up with alternative policies, whatever things. Me personally on helping some ministries using my kind of like links which already built up to solve my think tank and political career. Possibility signing up with the policy briefs or kind of like different researches or whatever. But if we believe that there are something over which we can advise, we definitely engage in something. Definitely we have the problems with the finances, all NGOs in Armenia, which is fully donor-driven civil society. Starting from 2000, I've been very much engaged in working out the endowment law in Armenia. First, it has been no believing it and no one wish. Finally, we got the text. It became part of the law. Now we need to develop and cultivate the new culture of benevolence that supported these endowments finally established. Now we have a law that is not properly working. not to properly even test how it works. Just like in other way, we need to understand that all universities, all medical hospitals, all many strong think tanks or civil society, they can use the local law developments and start to have this self-sufficient finance institution development. Small, but one day you need to do that first time you start to get there. In other way, we always like donor dependent, which is who is paying, what he's also doing, ordering the music, which is not really good, and where is our serenity? That's why I hope that one day we will also get there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to talk about Karabakh again, like, what's your opinion on like the role of Russia in the conflict? Because they're kind of like arming both sides. And, like you mentioned, like Syria and like Ukraine. Like it seems like Russia is kind of a common thread for all these like conflicts where there's kind of no resolution in sight.
I got the point. Let me just, as an independent state, you need to learn the first things. There is no friends in international community. There are interests. I would wish that Russia would read their own interest in a different way. But they're reading like that. US reading like this, France reading like that, Iran reading like that. I would wish there would be totally different texts. Russia is trying to read their own interest. What is their own interest? To have much wider influence. If they need to keep the influence here, they don't know any other instruments of soft power or I don't know, socialization, let's call it like this or something like this. That's why they're trying to keep up unresolved situation. Until conflict is not resolved, Russia is always much stronger influence in this region than it would have if there wouldn't be a conflict. And we need to properly read this. And I understand, do I have an other alternative that I can offer? If not, then I also need to take my part of the game and play it for the sake of Armenian interest. That's why I don't see the Russian role as positive or negative. It's the one who is serving to their interests. I need to be clever so much to make my interest work better in that game. The same with US. Should I now yell and cry saying, "Oh, Trump congratulate Ali 4 times, no, but 1 time Armenia, or he has a Trump tower there, or he has an oil interest there, or like this." I can also do that crying policy. Would it change American policy? No. Now, I would dream that Iran and United States have a perfect relationship. That Iran was ally of United States, not Turkey. Why? Because I already would have recognized Armenian genocide by United States. I already would have maybe much better relationship on this. And second, my borders, which is open with Iran, wouldn't be undermined. Now, with the nuclear deal, there was some openness. Now I'm reading that because of US left the nuclear agreement, there's again sanctions against Iran. Who is losing? One of the losers on that side, Armenia. SWIFT are closed, banking system are not closed. Iran would not be able to make an investment. And US is not coming to make investment in Armenia yet. Maybe one day it would come. If I'm reading all that things in a way how it's positive or negative for me, we need to understand it. I need to judge only from my point of interest. I would wish that I'll be like Israel for US, like this. I would be the, I don't know, Belarus for Russia, such attitude. I would like to be something very important, like for Iran, as like Syria or something. But we are none of them in this game. We need to be different. But it's matter of judges. What is my real? I'm really sorry. Armenian. Asatad. Այդ իրավաններն ովքեր հա всё хорошо ահա դες ընդ նյութ էին տվել իրանք տենք հա դուք ինքը չունի just out of others and understand what to do and do it with the very calm brain or sharp brain in a very understandable to have our pulse and do the proper diplomacy. Because if I need to change the reading of the interest in other places, I need to understand what. We've been so many times praised that Armenian lobby in US is such a strong blah blah blah. Can we say that we are strong anymore? Is the same way as like back in 2000, 1996, 97, 90 something. Definitely no. We lost a lot. The same in Russia. Once, if the Putin's vice would be Armenian, maybe we would be living in a different world. But we don't. Or if Trump would find that from where is the wife? Slovenia or Slovakia, but would find from Lebanon as Armenian, maybe we will live in a different world. So we need to understand that. Missed opportunities. There was a guy. I need to get into the university. That's right. If you're having a sharp mind, you need to understand basically why not? We have so many perfect, nice, clever Armenian ladies. Why not? They are getting the most important decision makers in this world. If I need to preserve Armenia, who said that you are not serving? The same for the boys. Or serve to your interest in a different way. Become the most important businessman in that country, and no one promoted Irish interest in US so much more than Bill Gates. Imagine if it's not Bill Gates, some other man, with the young. Maybe issues could be changed. Maybe issues could be different. We need to work on that, but you need to read the interest vertical. Russia would be playing its interest here, or I'm perfectly understanding and able to play in a way that I'm feeling me much safe, developed, my interest developed, or you're going to the confrontation. I always ask the question to my Georgian colleagues, what do you dream? If Abkhazia and Ossetia would be now with you, and you be half Western, half Russian, or I don't know, something like that. Or you will have the loss of that part of territory because of your Western, European, and blah 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 things. They are very difficult to answer the question, because if even at the Saakashvili they have been considered to be the champions of democracy, now they are kind of backing there. Ask Ukrainians what they would prefer, lose the Crimea and Donetsk or do something. And finally, EU is not investing in Ukraine in many things, or America is not for fighting the corruption and making Ukraine prosperity in the world. That's why we need to personalize that. And even for these cases, we don't have such a geostrategical importance for many powers. Russia will be playing its interest. It's interesting how to have my influence in South Caucasus. Unfortunately, we got stuck. I would dream that maybe Armenia would have another geographical location. We have what we have. Let's utilize what is best for us. Maybe the water, the high quality water, maybe good environment, maybe nice test of meat, maybe potato. And finally, there'll be a water field. We know which mountain to run and safe. What mountain.
Any other questions?
If not, guys, I have another business also. That's what don't be ashamed to say goodbye to each other. And I'm almost here. I'm an email person. I believe that RP and Christina would provide my contact information. They haven't got close to that.
He's on Facebook also.
I'm on Facebook.
Very active.
Yeah. Although you can find me and I'm real one, and I'm real one who is writing for me. No one is doing it for me. That's why whatever you will write to me, I will answer it.
Perhaps just one request. Can we get a group picture, please? Okay. Thank you so much,
Only here.
Mr. Tevan Poghosyan.